through the tinted windshield of her Lincoln town car, the flat, green fields along the highway on her approach to Lafayette, Louisiana, appeared fresh and cool to Lois Trahan. Even the water, deep and clear in roadside ditches, looked inviting to passer-by, tempted to stop their cars on this torrid August day, kick off their shoes, and wade there up to their knees in a childish moment of refreshment. But not Lois. She knew that if she were to stop her car and open the heavy driver's door, she would be whacked upside her face by a wall of heat and humidity. The same wall awaited her at the Lafayette airport, where her sister-in-law Doreen stood at this moment, bag and baggage waiting to be met. As she neared Lafayette, Lois tried to remember the specifics of Doreen's face, to retrieve her image as she might a photograph, but no matter the context in which she placed Doreen during the only 3 days they had ever spent together, Doreen's face would not come into focus. Her tallness, yes. Her stooped shoulders, yes. Heavy with the shock of having to bury her husband, but little else. Lois could not recall the features of the pale woman who had wandered about the little house in Cherry Hill from small room to small room. Only Doreen's height and hair remained in Lois's memory. She had had to remind Doreen to wash her hair the morning they buried Billy. "Come," she said gently, steering Doreen toward the bathroom. "Come, we'll get your hair clean." Doreen allowed this, changing from dirty blonde to sorghum honey. Lois wondered now what impulse beyond the vague one of family had caused her to invite her weeping and recently widowed sister-in-law to come stay with her. Oh, the words had fairly burbled from Lois's lips in Rive Perdue to Doreen's ears in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. She had blithely told her Doreen that she was to pack her bags and get away from that awful, lonely place and come to her in Louisiana, where she could at least be around normal people. Well, Doreen was coming. She wasn't just coming. She was probably already here, and the two of them would have to make the best of this. Lois reminded herself that life was a basically unstable condition, like the delta mud on which she lived. You go along just fine for a long time if you're lucky, then something awful crawls up through the muck and grabs you by your feet and tries to pull you down into itself. In a surge of acceleration, the town car moved toward the sign which announced "Arrivals, Departures." "Doreen, you poor thing," she called to her sister-in-law across the roof of the Lincoln. "You must be cooked through." Doreen stood in wilted hair and darkened armpits amid a wildly unmatched collection of bags and wrapped objects at curbside, far more than Lois had expected to see. "Oh," said Doreen wearily, "this isn't so bad." Lois stabbed a button on her armrest. The trunk lid popped and yawned. She left the car, breathed in a small amount of sultry air, and set about getting Doreen and her things inside as quickly as possible. Doreen stared at Lois's smart skirt and spiked heels. Then she glanced at her own limp dress and scuffed, damp sneakers. "What?" said Lois. "Nothing," replied Doreen. Doreen reached for the closet of 2 large suitcases, then thought better of her attention to luggage before her attention to Lois, and let go of the bag. She moved to embrace the wife of her dead husband's dead brother. "Hello," she said. "You were so sweet to invite me." "Mary and Joseph," Lois waved the perspiring woman away from her toward the pile of bags. "We can hug in the car, child." Doreen heaved and handed while Lois loaded, grunting as she lifted the final piece, a box tied round many times with frayed manila rope. "What is this? Lead?" "No, a present. It's a present for you." "I hope you had a porter." "No, I carried it." "From in there?" asked Lois. "Doreen, get in the car. You're about to melt."